Live from San Antonio, Mike Taylor.
Yes. How are you boys doing? Oh, we're back again. It's Overreaction Monday on Taylor, the original robber of Overreaction Monday. Rich Eisen goes with Overreaction Monday. Anybody in San Antonio, Texas can attest that I have been using Overreaction Monday since the late 2007. So he stole it from me, or he stole it from the guy I stole it from, because I stole it from the great Randy Galloway. So that's mine. So I get claim over that. I ripped that off first. It is Overreaction Monday. It is Taylor. I am in my personal home studio that I have erected in my apartment. DJ LG is back in the room. And frankly, I just decided I was going to do the show from here today because I haven't done a show here since the World Series, and every couple of weeks I like to just use the gear. And also it's raining and cold, and I don't want to get out in this mess. So that's where we are. LG, am I fine? Are we connected? Are we good to go? Thank you, lover.
Seems
Everything's
all right
great
so far.
Okay. All right. Good. Excellent. I noticed that I connected late today, and I apologize. I don't like to make him nervous.
Yeah, you cut it pretty close there.
Yeah, we did. I'm sorry.
You didn't even have pants on until 5 seconds before the intro played.
You know what? That's not a funny joke that he's going for early in the show. I really did not have pants on a moment ago.
Or a shirt.
Well, I didn't see the need for one because I was in my own apartment, and maybe we hadn't connected yet. So here we go. I'm sure I've got shorts on and everything. See, I don't have pants on, but I've got I got shorts on. How about that? And so we're good. So let's get a deal going, man. Let's jump in here. Jump in here with a chat. And I just want to make sure that my gear works. And so, LG, if you see chats come down the screen, or try to chat to me. Can't you chat me yourself? Shoot me a chiz app.
All right, we'll test it out. You want to learn how to use the gear on the air?
Well, yeah. I mean, we got to kill an hour here, so we might as well kill it doing that.
Testing.
Okay, you typing hello? Okay, cool.
There you go.
Hit enter. This is a big moment for me here as I try to become
I just hit enter.
Challenged. Okay, I did not get it. I don't see anything.
There's on the right page.
There's a red dot on the chat bubble. Should I click that?
On it. Yeah, okay, you should probably click on that.
Oh, cool! It worked. There it went. Boom.
Yeah,
okay, right on.
Yeah,
okay, cool. I see it. You wrote hello ! Testing. Cool. So we're ready. Yep. What's up, Brett? What's up, Novato? Okay, cool. We're good. We're in. All right, this is good. Let's do our podcast until my Wi-Fi craps out, shall we? It is Taylor. It is Monday. We had a
By
hell
the way,
of a week.
You should probably plug into the Ethernet when you do your shows. Yeah. That would help.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I forgot that old rule. I hadn't done that in a while.
It helps. All right.
Oh, we're good.
Continue.
Dude. Oh, we're
Get
fine.
back to work.
Okay, cool. Back to work. Let's get into it. I was setting up content. I was about to start rolling through content when I was interrupted. All right. So there's a bunch to get into today. It's been a hell of a busy weekend. So I think that what we're going to do today is I'm going to give you what I've got, right, for this part of the show, this free part that we do every day, Monday through Thursday, on our channels. But I don't think I'm going to be able to get to everything today. So what we're going to do is not mail it in. We're going to do a little members only today, LG. Right? Do you want to do it live, or do you want to record it and drop it later on? How do you want to
do it live?
Okay, let's do it live.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm thinking what, like 11:15, 11:30?
Because 11:15, because that's what time I programmed the link for already.
Oh, 11:15? I get hardly no break to take a dump. All right. Well, okay, let's do it. Let's get into it.
It depends on when you wrap this show, you know.
That's true. All right. Okay, cool. Well, let's get my good shit out of the way here. Because on a Monday, there's no excuse to not have good content because of all of the things that go down between Thursday's show and by the time we get back in here on Monday morning. And so here we go. And we'll start with, of course, COWBOS. What's that spell? Cowboss. How about them Cowboys? How about you, Dallas Cowboys? God dang it. I don't know why. I just took a shower, too, so my muckles are running. I apologize for that. The Cowboys last night returned to Jerry World A place where they have, I've been very critical of Jerry World for years because it's just not, it's not one of the best places for a football environment. It's a great environment, right? But for football, that home field advantage that is so important, well, that is theoretically so important in today's modern NFL, where you've got 95,000 fans of the home team just on top of you, just all up in your shit, and it's supposed to be a place where it's hard to play. But Jerry World's so spacious and so beautiful and pretty, and the art and everything's great, and the paint smells great, and the giant screen. The Cowboys it took them a while to have any sort of home field advantage. Now, granted, I'm starting off by talking about how good they've been at home. It's not because of the atmosphere. It's just because I don't know. It's just you sleep in your own. You sleep in your own town, and you don't have to commute, I suppose. And it also helps when you get to play the shit teams of the conference at home too. The Cowboys went on the road to play Philly, which that'll change in a month. And of course, they had to go on the road and play the 49ers. And so the Cowboys can't help who's on the schedule. All they can do is play who's up next. And they have just annihilated everybody at home. And last night, it was the New Wave of York Giants that went into Jerry World and just got their heads kicked in by Dallas 49-17. This was more impressive than the 40-0 shutout, in my opinion. Statistically, it was one of the biggest ass whippings in modern times. It has been since, the 60s since we had a yardage differential as we had yesterday. And it was going to be even worse than that had the Giants not had some junk points at the end. So the Cowboys wind up outscoring the Giants in the 2 games in the series this year. Oh, was it 40-0? So that's what, 89-17? That's unbelievable. It is the biggest point differential in modern times with the Cowboys, and well, it's the biggest. I think it actually is the biggest, where they've outscored their division opponent by that many points. They've never done that over the course of a 2-game series in the history of them being in this division, which goes back to day one when the great Tex Schramm politicked the Cowboys into the East because he wanted more eyeballs on the Cowboys, and it continues to work brilliantly. So 49-17, Dallas just beats their ass from start to finish. The Giants never had a chance playing that son of the mob boss they ran out there last night. I was firing off Chris Moltisanti jokes on Twitter. LG, you watched Sopranos, didn't you? You know who Chris Moltisanti is.
Of course, yeah.
I assume that everybody knows that, but then it's like, well, shit, that show's been off the air. What was the last year?
Well, he's also he's Spider, the dude who gets his foot blown off by Pesci in Goodfellas.
That's right. Correct. He is Spider.
Same actor.
That's right. And go fuck yourself. Wow. He tells Tommy to go fuck himself, and Tommy fucks him up for doing that.
I'm here to fucking amuse you.
Yeah. So, yeah, that guy. It was as if he was playing quarterback for the Giants, and they kept showing his parents up there, his dad his dad's got this real red skin, probably because he eats beef jerky all day, and he's got this big-ass bloated body that looks like a beached seal, and he's got that slick back hair, get the gold chain. Hey! And at one point, they go to his dad. What the hell is the kid's name? Tommy DeVito. Hey! And so they go up, they show Tommy's dad after yet another dumbass call by the unbelievably terrible Brian Daboll, who's gone from coach of the year to worse than Opie Garrett. They go to the dad at one point. The dad's just like, you can't really read his lips, but you can just say, hey, what the fuck we doing running that play, yeah?
Get the fuck out of here.
What the fucking A? Why are we running the ball? Yeah, it's like, oh my God, this is insane what we were seeing. So that's a long way of me saying it was a layup for the Cowboys yesterday. And boy, they dunked the shit out of it and got everybody involved. By far the most spread out offensive unit we've seen all year. I don't know where this has been. Some of it's a product of the Giants are terrible. But some of it's also a product of your head coach quit being stubborn, which we'll get into in a minute. Dak Prescott was absolutely brilliant. He did everything right except for the bad interception, but Dak could have thrown 4 interceptions yesterday. The Cowboys still would have won by double digits.
Dak Prescott sucks.
Out of the one pick, he was absolutely fantastic. He was supremely accurate. He continued to show the mobility that we hadn't seen the last couple of years. Out of necessity, he's got to be more mobile, and he has been. He ran the offense to perfection. He made all the right decisions for the most part and just ran the Cowboys up and down the field. And God, if it's not for the bad interception or them stalling out at the 1 yard line on their first drive, shit, the Cowboys may have scored 60 in this game. And so he was brilliant. And so for this week, he at least assuaged the wrath of people like me who give him so much shit for his inability to play well against the elite teams in the league. But there's no reason to bring that up today. The Giants are one of the dregs of NFL society. Dak was fantastic, and the Cowboys beat their ass. And everything that Dallas wants to do is all right there ahead of them. Everything that they want to do, win the division, get a home playoff game. There's no reason why they can't do this, even though they've lost to Philadelphia, and now they don't have the tiebreaker. Got their ass handed to them by San Francisco. 49ers resurrected from the dead after 3 weeks of losing and beat the tar out of the Jaguars on the road, which I thought was surprising. But everything else, everything outside of what we've seen from Dak in these two games against the better teams in the conference, everything outside of, except for that, they're terrific. And he's been terrific. Hell, third leg Greg was calling him an MVP candidate yesterday, Dak, which he's not. But it's still out there for him. They can win the division. The Eagles are a Jalen Hurts injury away from tanking. And by the way, the Eagles' schedule upcoming is brutal. So here's the next 4 games for Philadelphia. At Kansas City next Monday night, and the Chiefs don't appear to be as good, but still, it's still the Chiefs. Home for Buffalo. The Buffalo Bills aren't as good as I thought they were going to be, but they're still very good. And then home for San Francisco in a rematch of the NFC Championship, and then at Dallas. And so that's the Eagles' next 4 games. Chiefs, Bills, 49ers, then Cowboys at Jerry World. And what shape are the Eagles going to be in a month when they go to Jerry World to play the Cowboys? So again, in the Cowboys schedule, at Carolina, which again, it's the NFL, and the Cowboys could easily lose this game, but they shouldn't. If they play 50% as well as they played yesterday, this week in Carolina, they still should be pretty good. So they've got Carolina, then they have a bad Washington team, then they've got Seattle. Seattle's okay, but it's at Jerry World, and the Cowboys should be able to win. And then they got the Eagles. So anyway, and we're getting ahead of ourselves because a month in the NFL is like 6 months in human time. But all that to say, everything is right there in front of them. I mentioned Mike McCarthy. Let me take a dig at him and we'll move on. So it's funny how last Sunday night, as I was screaming up and down the bar at the Ringer about the inefficiency of this team in winning time, and the inefficiency of the head coach, the offensive coordinator, who's the same guy as the head coach, but I look at it differently. I separate head coach McCarthy, play calling McCarthy. And last week, part of my ranting at the Ringer was, why the hell are they not throwing the ball to Brandon Cooks? Why did you bring him in if you're not going to use him? And it's funny because I bitch, and a lot of people are bitching about the lack of targets to Brandon Cooks. They only targeted him twice last week in the biggest game of the year. And then on Wednesday, somebody in the media asked McCarthy, how come you only targeted Cooks twice in the Philly game? And how come he's not been more involved in the offense in general? And McCarthy got pissy. Well, this isn't fantasy football. Well, what the hell does that have to do with giving targets to one of your best skill players when your offense is bogged down and you basically are throwing the ball to 2 people, CD and Ferguson? I don't know, maybe how about Brandon Cooks, the guy with 5 1,000-yard seasons, who's still in his prime? And McCarthy's answer was, well, we're not playing fantasy football. Okay, dude. And so what does McCarthy do last night? Target Cooks 10 times. So clearly that question by that reporter was a spot-on question. McCarthy knows he needs to get the ball to Cooks. What it has to do with fantasy football, I have no idea. But nonetheless, they get 10 targets to Brandon Cooks. He had the game of his life. He certainly had the best game since he got here. I think he had more yards last night than he's had in all the other games combined, I want to say. And I'll be damned, CeeDee Lamb goes off too for a monster night. So they target another wide receiver, and it makes it even easier to get the ball to CeeDee Lamb. Imagine how that works. And so all that to say, your Cowboys look good, 49-17 over the Giants. They play in Carolina next week, as they'll see this kid from Alabama, the rookie, provided he's not hurt. See. By the way, that kid, Tommy DeVito, and the Cowboys, obviously this kid for Carolina is a hell of a lot better than DeVito, but it's another rookie. So they were making a big deal about this last night on the telecast. We've now had 10 rookie quarterbacks start in the NFL this year. 10. We're just now to the halfway point of the season. What are the Cowboys, 6-3? They just now surpassed the halfway point of the year. Now we have a 17-game schedule. We're to the halfway point, and you have 10 rookies already who've had to start, mostly out because of injury. And some of the non-rookies are shit, like Zach Wilson at Nueva York, who spared the Jets into another loss last night. It's unbelievable. You see that matchup last night on Sunday night where that fat-ass mustached quarterback for the Raiders, who I can't even remember his name now, against this overrated idiot from BYU who was non-competitive against the Cowboys. It's just, I did a segment on this Thursday. I think the quarterback play in the NFL overall, top to bottom, is down, and a lot of it has to do with sophomore slumps, rookies. Dak Prescott sucks against good teams.
Dak Prescott sucks.
Joe Burrow was hurt for a minute. Hell, the Bengals look bad. The only rookie playing worth the shit's C.J. Stroud, who's now there's an MVP candidate here in the first half of the season. Granted, it's only the first half, and teams don't have a lot of tape on him yet, but still, C.J.'s kicking ass in a way similar to the way that Dak Prescott kicked ass his rookie year. C.J.'s more talented than Dak, I think. And once we get film on C.J. Stroud, we'll see how things go. But he's having a hell of a first half to the start of his career. So that all to say, it's 49-17. There aren't very many good teams in the NFL. The Cowboys feast on the dregs, especially at home, and they did so yesterday. Now it's on the road to take on a Panthers team that's not as odious and terrible as the Giants, but a Panthers team that the Cowboys should beat. It is Mike Taylor Live, presented to you in part today by San Antonio City Soccer Club. They are up on the north side. Well, they're all over the city, but the ones that we sponsor and we promote the most are up on the north side. The Speck Road Fields is where you will find Thunderdome Field, a Thunderdome themed pitch at San Antonio City Soccer. And I'm open to, sponsoring another field if we were all to get together and donate about $100 a piece, about 9 of us or 10 of us. I think that we'd have enough to sponsor a field. But that all being said, if you have a kid that's thinking about getting into soccer, they have beginner level up from 4 years old all the way up to advanced college level at 19 years old. It is the preeminent, premier, most sublime soccer club in town. It is San Antonio City Soccer Club, the official club of Thunderdome and the Mike Taylor Show. All right, let's move on. Jump in here with the chat if you have anything. We'll get to some of these chats here in a little bit. LG, how do I scroll up and down the chats? Just wave the thing over there and just go up and down with my fingers? Okay, cool. Look at that. Does it need to be in a circular motion? Is there a certain pattern to the scrolling?
You should do the alphabet.
Counterclockwise, right? Alphabet counterclockwise?
Sure.
Yeah, well, you got to read the body language. You got to be able to sense what works and what not.
Well, definitely, you got to ask questions too. You don't have to rely on sense and body language. You can just ask the question. Don't worry about it.
So I'm asking. So y'all let me know how.
Don't be a pizza.
Y'all let me know.
Have some communication.
Of course, I agree. So y'all let me know if it feels good, you chatters. We'll get into y'all here in a minute. All right, another hard fart loss last night for the Spurs. They lose Friday to Minnesota by single digits. They played well down the stretch. They got outplayed by a Minnesota team that has more talent than they do. Last night was a similar scene as the Miami Heats came to town. But I got to tell you, I felt pretty good about things on Friday because they couldn't have gotten any worse last week when they were getting beat by fucking 40. And then they play well against Minnesota, lose a hard fart winning time matchup down the stretch. And I was proud of the boys on Friday night. I'm not mad at them this morning, the Spurs, but that didn't feel good last night. They should have won that game. It was a Miami team that was depleted coming in. Houston's own Jimmy Butler, the Miami stud, has had some issues off the court with family or something. So they weren't even sure if he was going to play. He was kind of a game time decision. And Jimmy wound up playing last night. But Miami did not have their all-star point guard Kyle Lowry. They're playing without that white boy Tyler Hero. So it's a depleted Miami team. And the Spurs got up big on them in the first half. But, man, they thoroughly get outplayed in the fourth quarter by Miami. They just got B-slapped in winning time last night, and they lose 118 to 113, and so they've now lost, 5 games in a row to fall to, 3-6 or something like that. Or whatever the hell the record is, 3-7, I can't think. But they've now lost 4 or 5 in a row. They went from getting blown out to a hard-fought loss Friday night, which was at least respectable. The score's respectable last night, but the way that this thing looked down the stretch, not respectable. Wemby struggled, and he's going to have nights like that. What I get frustrated with on nights where Wembanyama is not as productive or he's struggling is, and then we saw it last night, he was not as involved as he should be. Victor Wembanyama needs to be getting the ball more down the stretch. What are you going to do? Lose? I mean, shit, they lost anyway. Let's lose feeding the ball to Wemby. Let's not lose because Keldon Johnson turns into a hero and turns into Brick City, get it, in winning time. Give the ball to the kid. Now, I know there's 5 guys on the court. You got to have a balanced offense. They're trying to learn systems. Pop's trying to get rotations down and get guys gelled together. But, man, Wemby just was not as involved in the last couple of 3 minutes of the game as I thought he should have been. It did not help that the only point guard they have on the team, Trey Jones, had to miss the game because he's got a tweaked hamstring. We'll see if that carries into the next game. I think when do the Spurs play next? I should know this. Tomorrow, I'm guessing. They got to go up to. I think they have one of those. They have one of those in-season tournament games, which I'm still trying to get up to speed on.
I want to say Brooklyn.
No, I want to say Oklahoma. Let's see. We're way off. Well, one of us is way off. No, they got to go to Oklahoma City. All right. So this week the Spurs have 2 of these NBA in-season tournament games. So this does not count. This counts toward the tournament thing, right? They play in Oklahoma City tomorrow night, and then they play Friday night back home against the Kings, and it counts toward that. It's group play.
How are you feeling about these courts, the colors on these courts?
I think that they are awesome. I do.
Yeah, I think they're badass, and they should do that normally. Like, we don't have to always have hardwood courts. You know?
Not all of them are great. Okay, I think the concept's awesome.
Yeah, you got to have the right color combination. You know,
most of the courts I've seen look cool, and
ours
some of them
are badass.
Ours is great.
Yeah,
some people didn't like it. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Some of these, they're obviously the NBA's decided that everyone's is going to go over the top with the new design for this, just to give it some kick. And so we're not going to love all the color combinations. A couple of these courts look like a Jackson Pollock painting. I thought our court looked great. Did you see what Houston played on? It looked like that court was on the period. It was that time of the month in Houston. That was awful.
Yeah.
That was weird. It was distracting. Anyhow, no, I think that the playing games, these group stage games look pretty cool. So I haven't seen Oklahoma City, so obviously we'll see it tomorrow night. Okay, all that being said, I don't know how Trey Jones is going to fare with that tweaked hammy. Obviously, they won't rush him, but they don't have any more point guards outside of Trey Jones, which at some point needs to be addressed, buddy. Jeremy Sohan is giving it a yeoman's effort out there. He, at this point, and maybe he develops into a hell of a lot better player, gets more comfortable with it. Sohan is not good at point guard, not right now. Obviously, they see something, or they're just spitballing until they can trade for someone to platoon with Trey Jones, who's better than Sohan at the position. But, Sohan admitted, I saw a quote in the paper this morning. Sohan told that Jeff McDonald or somebody that was covering the team for the paper, he said, quote, sometimes it's like, fuck this role. That's not good when your experiment at point guard admits that sometimes it's like F this role. That's a quote. But he says it's only sometimes. He understands it's for the greater good. When it's going well and he's comfortable, he's great. But he's not been comfortable a lot. And frankly, I'm not comfortable with him at point guard myself. And at times it's looked really bad. And that's not it's looked bad more than it's looked good, you know. All right, jumping here with the chat, Holmes. It's Mike Taylor live here on YouTube channel, which obviously gets posted every day to Spotify and Patreon and iHeart and all of the different outlets and such. We're on all platforms. We're going to do a members only coming up at 11:15. So if you're a member of this show, we're going to give a Taylor bonus Overreaction Monday edition coming down at 11:15, which then we'll then post after we do the show. Like we do all these, they get posted to all of the different outlets. But if you want to watch it live at 11:15, I invite you to do so, provided you're a member. It is for members only. It is easy to become a member of this show. All you have to do is become a member, and it costs $6. Tell them how to do it again, LG, on the YouTube page. How do they become a member on the YouTube page?
Just click the description, and then there's a link in there. Yeah.
What does it say? Become
it says,
member?
click here to become a member, something like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I should probably know that since it's our page. But become a member. Many of you have. Many of you still need to. We're going to get
Just
better
know
about.
If you're on an Apple iPhone, you need to actually click the link and open up a browser to join the membership. You cannot do it through the YouTube app.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Thank you for that. That's very important. Do you have an Apple phone? What do you use?
Yeah, I have an iPhone.
Okay. Word up. All right. Very good. Yeah. What's this? What's this one?
It's an iPhone. Yeah.
So I have to do it like that too in the browser if I become a member?
Yeah.
But I am not a member. Why am I going to pay me to do my show? Right.
Yeah, you don't need to be a member. You have administrator access to everything.
That would go against the mathematics of the situation. And I know as a man of certain origins, you take math important, right, LG? Although India's catching up to y'all when it comes to math, just saying. In the future, when America's burned itself to the ground and had a civil war, and we have a North and
all
South
the doctors
America
are from India. Like every single doctor is from India. So
that's what I'm saying. Here in 50 years, when we've had a civil war and we have an East and West America, it's going to be up to you boys and the Indians to take care of us all. So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, all I can do is read the tea leaves. So that all being said, become a member, Holmes. It's only $6. That's it. $6, and we'll continue to post members only content every week for you boys. Membership enjoying pleasure. All right. That's enough stalling. What's up, you boys? Brett C. Not happy with the Spurs weekend performance either. It's funny. It depends on the game. Like I said, Friday night, I went to bed happy, even though they got beat. That was good. They played well. Minnesota played terrific, shot the lights out. Timberwolves are better. They got more talent. It is what it is. Rudy Gobert is a badass. Minnesota's got the best defense in the league. What are you going to do? Played well, played hard, and, fought them all the way to the end. Last night was one of those nights where I went to bed after a single-digit loss pissed because this thing did not do very good down the stretch. Navarro, everybody looks up at the screen at Jerry World. It's hard to even look at the field. I know, man. That's still a problem. I've not been to a Cowboy game in a while, though. It's probably been 5 years or so. But I've been to Jerry World for probably 8 or 9 games. And every time it's like, I'm doing this the whole night. Like I'm going, I look like freaking, I look like Schumer with these stupid glasses. Like, all day like doing that. Because you're so damn distracted by the screen. And it's hard to keep up, man. So it is what it is, bro. It's what it is, bro. As long as they win, that's all that matters. Tex-Mex Frank, what's up, Mexico? Hola, Taylor and Lawrence. Not only did Cowboy's girlfriend show up, she brought a 12-pack of cerveza, cooked dinner, and made dessert. That's good. I hope you tap that ass, but make her go home.
I want me some glory hole.
If you let her spend the night, cool, get up early, kick her out. Thank her for coming. And then show her the door. Give her a gift package. Give her one of those sweet Derek Jeter gift packages. Because the sex is great.
Don't cook breakfast. Give her one of those, like when the hotel has like the bag to go on the counter. That's what you need to do.
There you go. Right. You give her a box like the continental breakfast, dry cereal.
No, not even a continental, just a little granola bar or something,
Oh yeah, a little to-go granola bar, maybe half an apple. But that's it. It was fun. That was great. Hit you up next week after Carolina. And we'll hang. Until then, don't call me. Don't like all my things on Instagram. Don't message me. Let's get back together next week. So until then, later. But you cannot stay. Too bad. All right, man. Let's get into the college football scene over the weekend. But before we do, this show also brought to you in part by R&R Auto Glass, the official auto glass repair company of this show, Holmes. It is R&R right there by the airport at 281 in Tacoma. Get your ass in there and tell them that I sent you in there. If you have damage to the windows of your vehicle, whether it's the sunroof, the front windshield, the back windows, the side, whatever. Matter of fact, they even fix sometimes the little motor inside the door panel, the little handles will go out. The little mechanisms in there, the levers and pulleys that make your window go up and down in your car. Sometimes that shit goes out digitally or mechanically. They fix those too at R&R Auto Glass. But always, no matter what work you have done in there, make sure you mention us, and then we'll give you a Taylor Especial. Go get you a hookup at R&R Auto Glass. 210-340-2588. 340-2588 or rnrautoglass.com, rnrautoglass.com. Jimbo got fired. Bye-bye, Jimbo Fisher. Take you $77 million. You're guaranteed for the rest of your life, at least by A&M, and get your ass out. Golly, the Aggies stepped up and fired him over the weekend. I didn't think that would happen. What day did I post a video demanding the Aggies fire Jimbo Fisher? Was that Wednesday or Thursday, something like that, LG? It was last week.
It was like Wednesday, I think.
Wednesday, I posted a video saying it was time for Fisher to go. I'm not saying that they listened to me. I was obviously not the only person that saw that it was time. Most of my Aggie buddies figured, well, it's either going to come when the season's over or he's going to get one more year just because they owe him too much money. There's, last week, I think it was Brent Zwerneman in the San Antonio Express News who wrote an article on why Jimbo had to stay at least one more year. And I'm like, bullshit. No, he doesn't. Get rid of his ass now. It never had anything to do with the money, by the way, I don't think. Yes, they owed him $76 million and change in a buyout. Yes, it's more than 3 times the biggest buyout ever or something like that. But the Aggies always brag about how money's no option. Okay, if it's not an option, who cares? Just $77 million. You're the Aggies. Get rid of his ass because it's not working, and it's only going to get worse and worse. And they beat the hell out of a bad Mississippi State team Saturday. Big whoop. Big picture was it was time for Jimbo to go. It was overdue. And just because you gave the guy this feckless contract, which you never should have done because you panicked because LSU had an interest, you should have let him go to LSU. He'd be over there wrecking LSU's program, going 500. But they panic over the LSU rumor, give him this 10-year, $90 million deal that's guaranteed, an insane contract worth more money than Davy Crockett's got. And now here you are, not even 2 years into the extension, and you're forced to let the guy go because he's not the guy. The athletic director over there is Ross Bjork. You have this. I sent this to you last night, LG. You got this? We probably should have discussed it before we started the show. Ross Bjork. Here's Ross Bjork comparing Jimbo Fisher to a slow car in the fast lane last night.
You're either moving forward or you're stuck. We were stuck. And so I kind of used the analogy with somebody earlier. You know how you're driving down the highway and it's a 4-lane road, and I drive fast, okay? I like, 75 to 80. And somebody's in the left lane and they're going 55 and they won't move over. We were that car going 55. Something had to give. They had to get out of the way. So we had to move this program forward.
Okay. You think Jimbo likes being called a slow car in a fast lane? But I don't. I don't think that the boosters in the athletic department loves him admitting that he goes 80 miles an hour all the time. But the analogy is spot on. Jimbo Fisher was an outdated coach who could not win games in the SEC. All I ever heard was he won the Natty back in 2013, which is 10 years ago. Hell, Jameis Winston has a white beard now. 10 years ago in college football, especially in today's college football, shit, that might as well be 30 years ago since he won the title with Florida State. He could not do the job. He did not have the magic that it takes to win at Texas A&M. Few do. Few have the magic that it takes to win big at Texas. That's just the way it is with our two big football programs in this state. It takes a certain kind of guy to bring the magic at A&M. I don't know who the next guy is going to be, but it better be a younger dude than Jimbo. Maybe not even in age, but a guy who's more up to speed on when. I don't know. I don't want to fire off a bunch of cliches. Jimbo needed to go. I think that was obvious to one and all. It was not working. You're spending all that money to go 500, then what's the point? Who gives a shit if you have all that great recruiting when you're not winning? They're going to still be able to recruit well without Jimbo. And the Aggies panicked, and they bet against themselves. They outbid themselves, and this is why that they're in the position they're in today. But at least they didn't wait till the end of the season. They'd get a jump on the offseason recruiting haul and let everybody know that this guy's gone. Some of y'all are now worried that A&M is going to come calling to Jeff Traylor, the official college football coach of Mike Taylor Live. I say this about Jeff because I don't want this to come off negative. I don't think A&M is going to bring Jeff in. I don't think the Aggies think that he is worthy of their job. And that's not a slight on Jeff at all. I love Jeff Traylor. I think he would do fine at A&M. And I don't care wherever Jeff Traylor goes the rest of his coaching days, and I hope it's all in San Antonio. But wherever Jeff Traylor goes, I'm going to ride with him, no doubt. I don't care where he goes. Well, if he went to Baylor, we'd have to have a talk. Outside of Baylor, I'm going to follow Traylor anywhere he goes. Please don't do that. Please don't do that, Jeff. I think Jeff, but see, here's the, and I say this every year at this time, every year right around this time, it's, oh my God, is Jeff Traylor going to go to Baylor? Is Jeff Traylor going to go to TCU? I'll preface again by saying I don't think he's going to A&M. I'm not even sure they'll have any interest in him. If they do, it's as the fourth candidate on their list. I don't think the Aggies think that Jeff is worthy of their job. He is, but I don't think that they think that. Are there guys out there that are better than Jeff? Well, sure. Are there guys out there that might be a better fit for that Aggie program? I don't think so. I think Jeff Traylor is the perfect fit personality-wise, and where he's from. I think he's the perfect character that's needed at Texas A&M. But is he a big enough name for them? I don't think that they're going to think that he is. I've seen rumors that A&M is going to target the Oregon coach Dan Lanning. Remember Dan Lanning? We played some audio from him earlier this season. It was Dan Lanning who talked shit about Dion and all that marketing and everything before Oregon played Colorado. And then Oregon goes out there and just beats the tar out of Colorado. And Dan Lanning was criticized by a lot of folks for criticizing Dion's methods. Dan Lanning was simply getting his team to play. Dan Lanning was motivating his team. And when I first saw the quotes, I thought, Lanning's being a closed-minded idiot. I love how Dion recruits. But then when I watched the speech, watched it on video, and watched the reaction of his team, it was genius. Let me say this about this, and this won't sit well with you Aggies watching this show. I can't think of one reason why Dan Lanning would leave a premier program like Oregon and go to a sub-premier program like Texas A&M. Where's the bitching? Where's the bitching? The Aggies won't like to hear that. All they have is money. You know, there's nothing. What can Dan Lanning do at Texas A&M he's not already doing at Oregon? And they're getting ready to go to the Big Ten. His profile is going to go even higher once the Pac-12 dissolves here pretty quick or breaks all apart. I can't, other than money whipping Dan Lanning, I can't imagine why Dan would want to go to A&M unless he just feels like that it's a sleeping giant. maybe he's tired of living in Oregon. Personal reasons and money are the only reasons I can think that Dan Lanning would consider going to A&M, because the current job he has is a hell of a lot better one than what he'll have at A&M. What else? And we'll move into the Longhorns. Oh, yes, I saw this. Speaking of Jeff Traylor. Yes, I'm aware that Rice has an offensive tackle named Braden Nutter. And it's spelled Nutter, Nutter. I was aware of this. About 20 of you sent me screenshots of poor Braden Nutter. Man, you got a name like that, you better be a Division I football player. You can't have a jelly donut in your Foot Locker with your name is Nutter. You better be a kick-ass football player, so I'm sure he's a solid player. Rice is Rice, and UTSA beat their ass on Saturday. But, yes, his name's Braden Nutter, and no, I wouldn't want to fight him because he might splooge all over me. Mike check A. McCarthy versus Dayball in a hot wings eating contest. Who you got?
Fat.
Oh, man, I got diabetes is what I got just thinking about how that would look. Good Lord. A wing eating You know what? Give me McCarthy. I'm going to go with Mike. Dayball's too high strung. And I think Dayball probably already has, like Dayball looks like he's about to have a heart attack because he's got so much stress because he's failing miserably. McCarthy seems chill for a big man. I think McCarthy, he'd have that. See, I think Dayball be just like shoveling them in. I think McCarthy would take the easy, take your time, get that flow. That's the tortoise and the hare theory. Dayball's got sauce flying everywhere, shit flying everywhere. He's clogging up. He may choke to death like Chris Farley would do on that SNL gag and I think McCarthy would take that slow, steady pace like the tortoise, and he would win by one wing. But I would take Mike McCarthy, and he's favored by one wing. All right, now let's
pick a wing contest.
Yes, sir.
We have one coming up, don't we?
We do. 3 Cents podcast, which airs every Tuesday at
1 or 2
1 o'clock.
1
or
2. Yeah, 1.
Yeah. Every Tuesday, yes, a wing eating contest is going to ensue between me and Ernie and Cleto Rodriguez. Yes, thank you for the plug. That's a good segue. That's a good promo. All right. Well, today we pissed off the Aggies. Let's piss off them Texas Longhorns. Oh, sharp sticking them Longhorns. So easy to do. You college fans are the easiest to sharp stick, and it's funny. Once again, a talented Texas team goes into Fort Worth, Texas, and plays a bad TCU team with no quarterbacks, lost all their top skilled players, had their top 2 linebackers get drafted. The other one was not playing because he's hurt. It's a bad TCU team in rebuilding mode after the national title run last year, the national title game run, I should say. And I watched every pass, every play, every run. The Longhorns do what they do. And I don't know why this pisses y'all off. All I do is point out the facts. It's not even an opinion. Texas constantly plays down to the level of its competition, or they play up. They either go fight Oklahoma like hell, hard-fought loss. That fell apart on defense in the Oklahoma game when that quarterback from the hellscape ran the ball up their ass and beat Texas for the Sooners. But they played up. They go into Tuscaloosa, play terrific. Couldn't play any better. Quinn Ewers looks like the second coming of C.J. Stroud, and they beat Bama. And then what have they done every single week subsequently? Play to the level of their competition. Probably should have lost the Kansas State game. I thought that was a terrible call by Kansas State's coach last week to go for it in the first overtime when he should have just kicked it because he was out playing the Longhorns. And Saturday night, UT goes into TCU and damn near gives up a big lead and loses. They only win by 3. If you're a committee member and you're on the college football committee and you have any brain cells, you cannot look at Texas and think that they're even remotely close to being a playoff team at this point. I'm sure they'll be in the top 10. I don't think they're a top 10 team from what I've seen. They're a team that is 7-1, 8-1, and just dying to get their ass kicked. It may come in the Big 12 championship game. Hell, it may come in the playoffs if they make it, which I don't think they're gonna. But if they do, they're going to get their ass curb stomped. Texas is not a top 10 team. And now they've lost their best player. Jonathan Brooks, their would have been All-American, would have been first round. Well, shouldn't take a running back of the first round, but not everybody listens to that. But Jonathan Brooks is probably the premier, most talented running back in college football, and he blew his knee out in this game, and now he's done for the year. So it's not a good feeling in Austin. That'll piss off the liberal communist heathens that run around that city up there. But as usual, Longhorns are good. They're talented. They have a good record. I love their coach. I like their quarterback. Well, I did. I don't love him as much these days. But they play to the level of the competition, and this is a problem that has gone on for years. It precedes my man Sark, and I don't know what the hell anybody's going to do about it. Y'all don't want to hear it because just shut up and let us get through the season. But I just don't know how you can look toward the future unless Arch Manning is Jim Thorpe. I think about Texas in their first 2 or 3 years in Big John Southern Plantation country. They're going to get clapped up in that conference. Texas, they're going to struggle in that conference because while they do play to the level of their competitors every single week, it's a dog, just about, with a few exceptions. But anyway, that's next year. We'll get into it next year. For now, the Longhorns win. We'll see how things shake down when the committee releases the new poll tomorrow night. That's it. We're done. We're going to do a members-only show, though, here in 30 minutes. So if you're a member, take a dump, grab you a cup of coffee, or I guess dump normally follows coffee, doesn't it? Because coffee's a diuretic. All right, well, do whatever you got to do. Get back in here in about half an hour. We're going to do a Mike Taylor members-only live at 11:15. We're going to jump into big baseball news. I know, right? And not just baseball. We're going to get into all kinds of shit. We're going to talk about being a veteran. We're going to talk about winning some parlays. We're going to do some other NFL talk. We got more Overreaction Monday in a members-only form coming up at 11:15 on this channel. All right, I'm going to go take my coffee dump. Be back in 30 minutes. Love y'all hard. Ranch all day. Ranch all day.
Come back, you puppy!
This program was made possible by contributions from viewers and listeners like you. Thank you.
This is a Bronx bound